Hi guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with another episode of Rediscover Your Stash. And this week, Sara Scraps and I are tackling the much requested topic of plain chipboard. So here you can see I'm showing you just some of my options I had to work with. So Tim Holtz makes a lot of this. Basic Gray has some older stuff, and then those plain circles are from Technique Tuesday. And I'm showing you here some books that I had created, and these were for a Harry Potter party, and I used a tutorial that I found that Heidi Swapp had used on how to take just regular books and cover them to make them look that way. So I'm going to actually be showing you guys that technique today. I did take a bunch of these circles and use them on a layout earlier this week to create some shakers from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and so I have included a link down below to that video if you want to go back and see how I used chipboard in that one. Because that was a really, really fun technique and different layout as well. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to show you a little bit of tutorial in the beginning. So I want to show you how to do this technique that I had learned from Heidi Swapp. And then we will go from there to put the layout together. So what you will see me doing right now is I'm taking the chipboard that I'm going to be using to make some books. So I want a stack of books to go on this layout. And I'm taking my glue gun and adding some little details that will look like book bindings to each of the pieces that I want to use. And then I've also taken some letter stickers and added the word Potter to one of them. You can add shapes here, other chipboard pieces, anything you want, depending on the size of the chipboard you're dealing with. So if you had a lot bigger surface, you could add a lot more detail, kind of like I did on the book covers. So once you've added that detail with your glue gun, you're going to go ahead and go in with your glue. And you're going to cover everything with paper towel. So glue on the bottom, scrunch up your paper towel on top, and then glue on top. And so you kind of see me doing that right here. Be prepared, you are going to get messy in this project. So you cover everything completely with this kind of scrunched up paper towel and let it dry. And then you're going to come in with plain black acrylic paint and you're going to just paint over everything. And you want to make sure that you get the paint down into all the little details, so that your letters kind of stand out at this point, and it's going to look like it's a dreadful mess. So it doesn't look interesting, it doesn't look cool, it really just looks a mess. And that's exactly how it's supposed to look at this point. And you're going to set it aside and let it dry. Okay, then what I did for the second use or the second time is I'm going to be doing some stamping on chipboard. So I have this little circle and I'm going to make it into kind of a medallion for this layout. So I stamp with black ink first, and then I'm stamping with embossing ink over the top, and then I'm taking some copper embossing powder and just covering that little image. And these are the new set of Potterhead stamps from Kelly Perky's shop, and they are amazing if you have a Harry Potter fan at home. And then I go ahead and just set that aside. So now I'm back to this original part of our project, and I'm going to take some copper acrylic paint. And there's one Martha Stewart makes that I've used before. This is just a really cheap one from Michael's in that Artist Loft collection. And you're going to put a little tiny bit on your finger, and a little bit goes a very long way. And you're going to brush really lightly just over the top edge, kind of where that 3D detail of your design that you created is. And that's going to give you that really awesome antique book look. So then I'm also going to take a piece of my chipboard, and I'm painting it with that same matching copper color. And so this is going to go on top of my photo and have a phrase on it. So I am painting it with copper and I'm going to let it dry. And then I go ahead and take my black ink and I'm going to distress the edges as well as the top. And then I'm going to pull out my Stays On ink pad and I'm going to stamp my phrase right on top. So I'm creating the distress look so it'll match my books. And then I'm going to stamp my phrase, I solemnly swear I'm up to no good, and you'll see that here in a minute. So then the third way that I use chipboard on this layout is to create some depth and some interest. And so this works really well with pattern paper, vellum, anything you want to do that way. I'm using pages from a Harry Potter book. So I went and picked up an extra copy of the book at Goodwill for I think like 50 cents or $1. And I use it to cut pieces out of whenever I'm creating kind of a Harry Potter project. So what I'm going to do is I pulled out a circle punch that matches the size and shape of my chipboard that I want to use. And I'm going to create a bunch of tiles for my layout. So I'm spreading glue onto the chipboard itself, and then I'm going to cover it with this piece of page from the book. So for half of them I'm using images, which are the chapter headers, and then half of them I'm using just text from the book. And you'll kind of see how all those go together when I put the final layout together. So I'm going to put you on fast forward, and we're going to go ahead and put this layout together. So I took a white piece of basil for my background, and then I have a piece of vellum that I picked up at Michael's that looks like book pages, and I just put that on the diagonal for the top half of the layout. And then I'm inking all around the edges to keep with that distressed look that I have going on. And then I have my stack of books that we created. So you know how to make these really fun, distressed looking books. And those are going to go down in that bottom corner. And then I'm going to have my photo, which is a picture of my son on the day that the new 8th book came out. And he was so excited, had to have it, even though we are nowhere close to the 8th book in our reading. He absolutely had to have this brand new book. And immediately came home, added to his bucket list that we have to go to London to see the stage play as soon as he finishes all of the books. So there you see I've pulled in those tiles, and I did distress those around the edge, and I really like putting those onto the chipboard because they create some extra dimension on my layout, and I have them layered up, so some of them are more flat, and then some of them have some pop dots so that they can lay on top of each other, and then my photo also has some pop dots. So there's a lot of layer running down the middle of this page, and when you see the close-up photos, you'll be able to see that. And then I'm going to keep the other embellishing very simple, and I just added these copper stars from Studio Calico as well as some journaling. So the things that I did with chipboard are really going to be the elements that stand out on this layout. So I taught you how to create some antique looking books. I also showed you how to stamp in distress, and then I also, for the third technique, showed you how to cover those chipboard sheets with either pattern paper or book pages, which is a really unique element. And so I really hope you enjoyed what we did with plain chipboard today. And make sure you check out Sara Scraps' video to see some more ideas. And I know she's getting messy too. I'll see you again soon. Bye.